Today's guest is Chef Troy. Thank you so much for coming. So please introduce yourself for those who may not know you or who may not be familiar with you, and take up space.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Chef Troy Levy. Consider myself an I-tal chef, born and raised in Jamaica, and I'm here now trying to do the work as best as possible as enlighten people about the culture and just what I do personally as an I-tal chef.
So the topic of the night is fine dining vegan cuisine, specifically Ital cuisine, and how to experience luxury through your palate. So, for those who may not be familiar with Ital, could you give a brief description of what Ital means? What is Ital, and what does that mean for you?
For me,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for putting that in there.
Mm-hmm.
I-tal for me definitely just mean a more clean and healthier way of eating, and also growing up, I understand the difference between processed food and non-processed food. So I-tal is more of a non-processed food. So it's more of a natural food. So that's basically in a nutshell what I-tal means to me, just natural.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up in Jamaica, if you see a female and she have natural hair, you would say she's an I-tal empress. So that's the whole liberty and how you carry yourself, what you eat, how you treat yourself and treat others. It's I-tal liberty.
Nice. So when it comes to, veganism is very popular now in society. Everyone has something that they call to be vegan. Whereas, some people may use ingredients like soy, seitan, and wheat. Some people may say that's healthy, but in your expertise, what have you noticed about how vegan and natural living has been shaped? Like, what do you see the culture of vegan food to be?
Um, so the word vegan is since I've came to America and spent a few years in America before I even hear the word vegan, I trying to understand what it means. And for me personally, as a chef, I was cooking a lot in different restaurants all over the place as a pescatarian because I was just eating fish for a long time. And before I started, just dive just straight into ITAL. And I realized that when you think about vegan or speak about vegan, a lot of people would consider it just meatless, so they don't eat meat, basically. But when I look at it, like from my perspective as an ITAL chef, I see vegan as confusion. Not to throw shades at anybody, but vegan is confusion because, I mean, consciously, I think, like I mentioned earlier, ITAL is a liberty. Consciously thinking, if you're thinking that you don't want to partake in meat because you decide to be a vegan, then you should not be thinking about, I want some vegan chicken or vegan pork. It's just a mind thing. You can't sit down and thinking about this if you say you don't partake in it. It's like you say, yo, I don't kill people, but get a man of money if you can kill somebody over there. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing for me personally. So I just think like when it comes to vegan is vegan we eat unclean, unhealthy. Because if you look at some of the packages for, like you said, seitan or the tofu or the mushroom or not mushroom but tofu and
Sorry.
the most soy products. So I'll look at because I was cooking for somebody when I just started catering for vegan. I was living on Ocean Avenue, and this lady, I told her that, yo, I'll do some mushroom and I'll do some chickpeas and do different things for her. And she said, no, I want the vegan bacon and different things. And I've never heard of vegan bacon at this point before. So, she told me about the health food store on East 18 over there, and I went over there. And when I pick up the bacon and I started reading the ingredients, it has hink in it for the coloring and different things for the taste. And, I was like, better you go eat some chicken. And if you're going to eat this, it better you eat some meat. So for me personally, seeing vegan and understanding how it is represented in America, I would not consider myself a vegan. I really don't think of it as, because there's people in Jamaica that eat ital, but just because vegan is a hip word now and it's all over the world, a lot of people who are eating ital would just consider themselves or call themselves vegan. But for me personally, being here and experiencing this, I just kind of differentiate myself as ital instead of vegan.
Which is why I wanted to properly, clearly define what veganism is. because it's just a trend word. It's not real. When we're talking about healthy, natural lifestyle, it's if it did not naturally come from the earth, it is not authentic. We have to start taking on the habits of reading the ingredients on the back of the label, not what's on the front, because what's being displayed is not necessarily true. So now let's get into the fine dining aspect. I know that you are a self-taught chef, and I think that's something to be very proud of because I know anyone here who's tasted his food now, this is what Ital is, purely natural ingredients. So when you think of fine dining, like how could someone even at home elevate their kitchen to experience this level of dining?
For me, it has been a lot of sacrifice and a lot of work because, like you just mentioned, I am self-taught. I definitely have seen my family members, my Rastafarian uncle, and other people cooking ital food. But I came to America with the ambition of being a movie star or something like that. I just came. But when I came, I started, steaming fish in Queens, and I realized like a lot of people just come and they would buy fish. People come from Poughkeepsie and said they come here for fish. Different places. So I started, cooking my fish, steaming my fish, people buying it, and whatever the case is. And fast forward, I got introduced to a restaurant in Upper East Side. At the time, it was Casa Pomona. So I met a chef, and working with him, he told me that, yo, whatever you want, if you're serious about learning, you don't have no skills in the kitchen. He straight up tell me that you have no skills in the kitchen, but your flavor is better than any other chef I've met. And for an executive chef looking at me as a cook, just coming into the restaurant and telling me that, I never have no man talking to me like that. So when he told me that, he gave me so much confidence. I stuck with him and I stayed with him, and he was just all about fine dining. So he taught me a lot about cutting, different way of plating, different things and stuff. So I just took that on after I leave the kitchen and stopped cooking for people. I just kind of start using the same method that he used, but to use it naturally. And I think it's simple for us as people too. When we're cooking in our house, I mean, me personally, my daughter and my son, they feel like they're in a restaurant when I cook for them, because I try to play things. I think practice become, not perfect, but practice become, make it better at things. So I continue practicing how to plate my food and fine dining because I work in a fine dining establishment. I realize like, it's just about, I already have the flavor. So it's just about the plating and you're like a artist kind of, so it's a canvas. You're trying to make it as pretty as possible. And fine dining, anybody can do it once you practice it and you the know how. I personally feel like whatever we want to achieve in this world, we research and we read books or whatever it is that we have to do to get the knowledge. But for me personally, I think whatever is inside of you has to come out on the plate if you want to present nice and fine dining thing. And I think that works for me where fine dining is concerned. To answer your question, is like it's simple, but not everybody can do it. Not everybody have the patience to do it. And it's simple. Fine dining is really just another way of you making things look good for your family or friends.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like that you said that. It's, as you said, it's about patience.
Absolutely.
Because one thing that I want anyone listening to this or even being here is when it comes to your food, what you're consuming, what you're putting into your body, be patient with yourself. Take time with how you're placing everything on your plate and take pride in it. Because you'll be so surprised how just that moment of pride from every little thing that you're placing in your food, how that changed your experience. Because fine dining, all that it really is, that what I'm coming to understand is it's an experience.
Absolutely.
And it's experience of a chef's patience and care to present you with this meal. So instead of just slapping everything on a plate, slapping everything in a pot, how do you present yourself, your meals? So my next question is now like, let's talk about your experience. Like, people, if you've never been to Chef Troy's Taste of Ital, it is really an experience. I remember my first taste at I-tal events, and I came with my best friend, and then I had posted the flyer actually, and then another friend came, and she said, I saw you posted, and I wasn't sure if you were coming, so I decided to come with God. That's the impact of this food. And we had an amazing experience. And my favorite piece of what you made was the breadfruit croquette and the scotch bonnet ackee hummus. Um, as it sounds, it was an experience. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I've never had anything like it. So tell us about, like, even when you're saying like the flavors and much how much intention you put into your food. How did that piece come about, and even some of your other creations? So even people who are inspired by this, how can they tap into that level of inspiration?
Thank you for saying that. It's warm my heart to hear that. For me personally, as a chef, like growing up in Jamaica, because when I started cooking vegan or ital food in America, after I stepped out of the kitchen and stopped working for people, one of the things was I want to make something look good and I want it to taste good, but I want to wow the people. And I was just thinking about, okay, Chef Ramsay, thinking about, international chef, thinking about what they do. But at the end of the day, something came to me like, why don't you just cook where you know how to cook? Cook where you used to cook and try to make it sexy. And when it comes to the breadfruit croquette and the ackee hummus, that has been like, growing up in Jamaica, we eat breadfruit every day. I will pick ackee. We go up on the tree and pick ackee, and I cook ackee so much different ways. We put it in a patty, we put it in a rice, put it with fried breakfast or whatever the case is. So I've always loved ackee. Like that's one of my favorite. And breadfruit is another thing where them say in Jamaica they have a saying that say coward man eat breadfruit, but I'm not really coward. Just don't test me, but I'm not really coward. But I've ate the most breadfruit growing up in Jamaica than anybody else. We had breadfruit tree, and I used to love breadfruit. Whether it's steam, whether you roast it, whether you fry it, I just love breadfruit. So being here in America and just going back to my roots and thinking about what I have done as kid, I think, like I said, taking certain knowledge and certain input from my chef and understanding the fine dining experience, I realized that hummus is a really, something that it's Mediterranean, but a lot of people utilize it different ways, and I always see my chef, him have the spoon and him put things on the plate and make it look good and stuff. And I thought about it and I was like, yo, I want to put ackee and breadfruit on a plate, but you know what, make a pureed ackee, because if me don't puree the ackee and put some chickpeas in it and call it a hummus, because hummus is made with chickpeas. So I was like, you know what, let me saute my ackee and have some chickpeas to it, and that's what I did. And when it comes to croquette now, I had potato. I had a lot of people put saltfish or bacalao and potato and make balls with it and fry it and stuff. And I just thought about the breadfruit, and I think that's one of my signature dish up until today, because I made this in East Africa, and the people was telling me that I should definitely package it because it was that good to them, So I think, just understanding, we don't have to look too far to learn what we need to learn, Just look within and your history and your roots. Just tap into your root and try to recreate things that you grew up on a child eating. And it's very simple for me personally, because I think one of the main ingredients in everything that I do is I put love into it. That's one of the most important ingredients. And also, like you said, there's patience. There's patience, and we try things. We try a dish and peer it certain way. And if you look at my Facebook or some of my pages where when I just started cooking to now, you would see the difference in the elevation and the growth and everything as it relates to plating and stuff. But just keep practicing, try new things, utilizing really awesome flavor, and keep it as clean and as healthy as possible. And I think, it's simple. It might sound crazy, but it is simple. It's basically, you just put what you love on the plate. Do it from a really pure place, because if you do, me personally, I tell people this every day, if you're cooking or presenting food for people just for money, then it don't make no sense to do it. For me personally, it don't make no sense to do it. It's the passion and the drive that I get when you tell me about the crickets. People tell me about the food that they eat. That really fuels a fire that keep burning. Definitely.
So what I hear is keep it simple,
Absolutely.
maintain your patience,
That is it.
put your love in it, and stick with your foundation and
Exactly.
build on top of that.
Exactly.
And yeah, thank you for sharing that because at least gives people an opportunity to have a formula.
Absolutely.
Where it's like, you might be thinking like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know where to start. Is keep it simple.
Yes.
Be patient with yourself. So if you are just starting, like, allow yourself to explore in your kitchen because there might be the little small things such as, you have a potato or you have like a banana. Take a fork and slice through it.
Exactly.
Try it. Be
Try it.
creative.
Exactly. Make that creative juice flow.
Make the creative juice flow.
Awesome.
So, the holidays are coming up. And some people may, not even, but it's like you always hear sometimes, if you want to have a healthier lifestyle, people just want to present sides. So what is some tips or suggestions you could give to anyone here who may be listening, an idea of what they could present to their family or to have like a healthier Thanksgiving or a day of gratitude?
So I celebrate Kwanzaa, but I think one other thing is we as individuals, especially when we're starting to eat healthy, we think that we have to separate things. Like you have some green beans or you have some black beans, you have some quinoa, you have some mushroom or whatever the case is. You separate them. I think this the festive season where everybody trying to be creative and presenting nice things. I think we could get some black beans, get some mushroom, especially portobello, dice it up really fine, add that into the black beans, and just add some nice bell pepper, scotch bonnet, thyme, scallion, and stuff like that, and make a nice pate, or you could make a loaf with it, and slice that up and just create a nice, awesome sauce. And I mean, one of the things that I really like is roast vegetable. So if you get some tomato and you roast that, char it out a little bit and season it up nice, bay leaves and rosemary and stuff, and blend that out to make a nice sauce to go with that pate or loaf. It's something that I know people will love, and just let your creative juice flow. I mean, think about the things them that you have and separately, and then you try to think about a way of incorporating them together. And I know some people might say they don't have the patience or the time, but you can always reach out to me on Instagram too. If you need some information, I definitely will help and direct you if you need some direction. But basically, it's simple. I think making a nice loaf where people could eat it with their rice and peas or their whatever starch they like. I think that's nice. And I personally prefer wild rice or quinoa. So I think get some red peas and do it just like you do your Jamaican rice and peas and put some wild rice in or some quinoa and just make a awesome starch. And side me personally, I love greens. I love leafy greens. So kale. I personally have a trick that I think a lot of people like is the kale, because a lot of people tell me that the kale is too tough and it's very difficult for them to chew it, and it's not really palatable for a lot of people. So what I do, I take the time out to chop my kale as fine as possible. I chop it up as fine as possible. But then I massage it with some olive oil. So you massage that with some olive oil and lemon juice. It definitely breaks it down and make it soft and palatable. And then put whatever dressing you want to put on it. And those are nice salad, whatever you want to put your fruits in there, your different things. It's just, like I said, it's simple, but at the end of the day, certain tips and tricks that can help to elevate your dish and elevate what you do. Reach out to Chef Troy. I got you. I got you. But definitely simple to make awesome sides. I think this holiday should be awesome. But, if you guys don't want to eat mushroom, because mushroom has a lot of nutritional value, but it's an awesome protein for me as well. And I do mushroom in a bunch of different ways. I don't get up and call mushroom that it's some vegan chicken or stuff like that. It's oyster mushroom, it's oyster mushroom. It's portobello, it's portobello. I might jerk it or I might do different things, but that's what it is. So I think cubing some portobello and season it really nice, and then you dehydrate that, and then you make a sauce and toss that in it. It's really really awesome, really awesome to put on most dishes, So
Oh,
some simple tips. I think you guys, if re-listen to the thing and get some information, I write it down and
mhm. Thank you for sharing those tips and gems and just loving how the conversation is going so far. Anybody in the audience have any questions for Chef Troy? Go.
My trouble is not the cooking part, it's always finding where the best place to get these ingredients. I
Mm,
think that's where it starts,
mm,
that's where the trouble begins
mm.
Mm,
for most people, I feel like.
okay.
So is there places that
I
you
think I think as it relates to places that you get your fresh ingredients. I mean, you always have Whole Foods and you always have some farmers market and stuff. But I think for me personally, if you know somebody that has like a farm and stuff like that, you could definitely source your ingredients from there. But if not, I think the best option nowadays, especially, is Whole Food because some of these Korean stores they're still buying genetically modified things and selling it to people. So it is of great importance for you to pay attention. I mean, I know it might cost you to go over town to get it, or it might cost you a little bit more to get it. But when you really do the maths and try to figure out, because I was just having this conversation, I was on the food truck today and I was serving some food, and a customer came and we were having a discussion, and he was like, "Yo, your food is really good and it's not really overly expensive, but I realized that vegan or healthy Ital food is a little bit more pricey than the cheap food." And I was telling him like, all right, they allowing you to save that money for the doctor bill, so you have to save it. So you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice. If you want to save that money for the doctor bill, like you want to spend it on eat healthy and try to maintain yourself and have a sustainable life. It's up to you. But we all have option. So I think yeah, just Whole Foods and try to stick with the farmers market and like I said, just get into some social media community where there are people who like-minded people who are thinking about getting food or fresh produce or ingredients. Just reach out and speak to people because I have a lot of friends in Connecticut and they grow a lot of ingredients that they just ship out to down this side on a regular basis. So just do some research and you'll definitely find some clean and healthy ingredients for your dishes.
Yeah, there are community farms available.
Hmm.
And again, if you partner with someone who has like any plot of land, you guys can start your own community garden that way. And
Definitely.
also remember to wash, please wash your produce, vinegar, lime,
You have a
and
question?
salt. Yeah.
Where can we find your food?
Hmm?
My food, it's like career jam. You have to search for it. But I do definitely do a lot of pop-ups. So I do taste of Ital pop-ups. I haven't done none this year because I was busy getting my food truck on the road and stuff like that. But now I have a food truck in West Hempstead, Long Island, where I cook most of the time when I'm around. Because next week I'm going to Jamaica for my Ital festival. We're doing the Ital festival in Jamaica. But definitely in West Hempstead, or you could book me for a private event or stuff like that. We definitely do a lot of those private event as well, and we definitely looking into collaborating to do a taste of Ital as well. So we're definitely going to be around. I think the most important thing now is to keep in touch with us, keep in touch with myself, get on Instagram, follow me, Chef Troy, Chef Troy Table, and you'll definitely be getting all the information as they come out of what we're doing. Because we're always working, we're always trying. I tell people all the time, I'm not trying to condemn or convert anybody. I'm just trying to show you the way I live and the way I try to eat healthy. And if you want to be a part of it, let's do it together, collectively. So that is the ambition. Share the question.
I have a question. So with your ITO style of living, right?
Hmm.
How are you ensuring that you're getting all the vitamins your body needs?
So
Protein for
yeah,
the
so
main component.
yeah, so definitely. I mean, if you look into protein and what protein is or how important protein is for your body, I think we get tricked by thinking that we only can get our protein from meat and get our protein from animal. So if you really think a lot of people would say a piece of steak would give you a certain amount of protein, you could get that same protein from some beans. you know, and I use beans a lot because I think that's where I get most of my protein from. But a lot of people, the protein, like protein powder and protein tablets and other stuff, it's just like you go into the middleman or the second hand. You get the second hand protein kind of. Because if you want protein, you eat greens. You eat things that come from the earth, directly from the earth. Nothing that is broken in that process. And I tell people all the time, I'm not a doctor, but one of the things that I am clearly aware of is me personally. When I eat anything that is not good for my body tell me. So how our body speak to us. Some of us try to ignore it or avoid it because we feel like we're too lazy or we don't have no time or no patience. But our body speak to us. So you getting the right nutrients, the right protein, and the right things that is for your body. Just consistently eating healthy and clean. I think that comes from the earth. If we worry too much about the doctor, I go tell us say you need this amount of protein to live. You just think that your body I go tell you, trust me.
And it's also to do, in regards to protein, is to do your research.
Absolutely.
Protein is a form of amino acids, so it's to kind of really identify how is your body utilizing this quote unquote protein, and look into that, because there are people who have been living this lifestyle that has been sustaining themselves for many years. The biggest thing with being vegan and eating light, it just becomes a responsibility, because now your body is lighter. Now your body can feel the environment that you're in. So now you have the responsibility to either choose to maintain yourself in the environment that you're in, or to move if you have those options and opportunities.
Relocate. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Anyone else have any questions?
Alright, so what do you think about dairy?
Dairy?
Yeah, cooking with dairy, like milk, cheese.
No, but dairy are animal product.
Yeah, so
I personally, like, to be completely honest, if you need to use things that come from the animal, when the animal eat the grass, we get all of the nutrients and everything that you put into the product that you're using. Like I said just now, you're taking it like second hand. You get in the second hand. You can get all the protein and all the nutrients from the animal. You get that from the plant. So, for instance, you using butter or milk, dairy butter, dairy milk, or whatever the case is. There is a lot of, we can make our own butter from cashew, peanut, whatever nuts you want to use, and we can make our milk from nuts as well. We make your milk. I personally love to make my cashew milk or
how you made
the soup.
It was corn,
Corn, pumpkin, and I put coconut milk in it.
So you use real corn?
Yeah, real corn. Yeah.
Is that inflammatory?
Is that
Inflammatory.
the corn?
Yeah.
For different people, but I don't. Me personally, if it not affect me, then I really do knock it. And I eat it, and I eat corn regular. I mean, I've been eating corn, and I have good bill of health.
So if I can't do dairy, how can I make it I-tal or make it?
No, but dairy don't come near to I-tal. Dairy is not I-tal. Dairy is meat product. So, for instance, everything that I put in the soup that you just tasted was, organic products. And the milk that I put in it is a coconut, like a blend of coconut and use the milk. So I try my best. Like when you eat dairy is just animal that them kind of modify whatever part them get from the animal to whether make butter or to make milk or make different things. But it directly coming from the animal. A lot of vegan people don't utilize dairy products either. I mean, you utilize dairy.
No, he doesn't. That's why
Oh, he does not
right.
do
That's why
dairy.
I'm asking about
No, but it's everything here is vegan that I serve though. Everything is I-tal. I don't really put no. Thanks for asking though. Definitely.
Anybody else have any questions before I close up? All right. Thank you.
Look at the comment.
Absolutely.
Sure.
As a person who started to try your food, it was really good, but it's kind of sad to see how she likes to have to talk about your food, because that's the way you talk about my food.
Pick up my cousin. Yeah, competition.
I see why.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, basically, I mean, I can tell people all the time, like, they have a lot of artists, and then people like the artist for a specific reason. What and that impact that music or whatever the hotter is, affect that person, individual. So it's the same way with food. I don't think, for me personally, I never ever think about comparing or compete with any chef. And I'm really, the only time I ever compete with a chef was when I was on the Food Network. But besides that, I would never compete with a chef because I know for a fact that what I present is unique to me, and nobody's not like me. Nobody's not like you. So whatever you provide or present to somebody for consumption, once you do it purely and clear and with a clear conscience, I think people are gonna love it for what it represents at that time or how it make them feel. But trust me, none of your food them not gonna make you feel as how you feel
and a jealousy, no,
about
like, yeah,
about my about my aki
props,
hummus, about my aki hummus and my breadfruit crickets.
He's like, yeah, you're proud.
Oh man, I trouble there. But yeah, I think man, I think
I know, right?
she's a foodie.
Oh yeah, long time.
She's a foodie.
Love her back.
And I really and truly appreciate foodies because foodie pay me. But besides that, though, I think it is of great importance for us to share the food with the world. And I never realized how people really appreciate good food until, like I said, until I start traveling and go to different countries and, presenting the same thing that I present here. Because there's a lot of people here. I've done events here where them vendors were selling meat and then them vendors were selling vegan or item food. I mean, I'm talking about a few years ago. And all of the meat sell off on my food, not touch. But it was predominantly black people that eat. So
Yeah.
black people, in my opinion, not to throw no shades or not, but we don't start eating healthy until we get sick. And that is really something that we need to change. Because at the end of the day, we have to start, taking care of our body. A lot of people we see out here with poison of them body, if them have a car or a nice house, are the cleanest thing. So all the exterior things are clean, but we're not taking care of nothing internal. So I think it is of great importance for us to start taking the same pride and honor and respect for our body as we do, material things.
Thank you, Chef Troy, for joining us for this conversation.
Mhm.
Yes, clap it up.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Really awesome conversation.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in for Tea and Vibes. We'll see you next month. Peace.
Blessings.